Penguin Random House Audio presents The Eights by Joanna Miller. Read for you by Alix Dunmore.
Michaelmas Term. Chapter 1. Thursday the 7th of October, 1920. North Week. Academic dress. Students are expected to wear the undergraduate's gown and cap of the approved pattern for lectures and tutorials, and when they enter any university building. This includes the university church and the libraries. They are also expected to wear academic dress if they are out after dinner, unless they are going by invitation to a private house. They are required to wear for their examinations a special dress under the gown, namely a dark coat and skirt and a white blouse with black tie. Shoes and stockings must be black. On other occasions they are advised to wear under the gown either a dark coat and skirt or a dark coat frock. Bright and light colours are inadmissible. Caps are retained where the male undergraduate removes his, for example in university ceremonies. Caps and gowns can be ordered from Oxford tailors and from Messrs. Eade and Ravenscroft, 93 and 94, Chancery Road, London. Students with the status of scholar should wear the scholar's and not the commoner's gown. Miss E. F. Jordan, Principal. The square cap, made of wool, is an odd sort of thing. Floppy but pointed at four corners. There is no brim, just a thick felt band secured by a button on either side. Does the band go at the front or back? She has no idea. All she knows is when she puts it on, she resembles a rotund Tudor courtier in a Hans Holbein portrait, which is surely not the intended effect. Strange little cap or no, Beatrice Sparks can hardly believe that she has woken up somewhere other than the cluttered townhouse in Bloomsbury that has been home for the last 21 years. When she said goodbye to her father last night, she felt like a sheet of paper folded in half and torn roughly along the crease. Two smaller versions of herself exist now, each with an edge that is undefined and feathery. Her first day at St. Hugh's is an opportunity to rewrite one of these pages. The mirror on the bedsitter wall is so small that she is forced to back all the way across the room in order to get a glimpse of herself in her commoner's gown. Sold by mail order, the gown sits at her waist rather than the regulation hip and cuts tightly into the shoulders of her jacket. She will simply have to buy a man's size instead. But she is used to the accoutrements of life being ill-fitting. Last night, as she tried to sleep, her feet tangled repeatedly with the cold metal rungs of the bedstead. Nobody could ever label Beatrice an average woman. She has inherited her 6-foot stature from her father and her hearty appetite for politics from her mother. To be the daughter of a former student of the college is something, she supposes. A militant suffragette, disciple of Mrs. Pankhurst and alumna of the Hunger Strike Brigade, Beatrice's mother is a woman of considerable renown, who believes in equality for women in education. Hence there was never any doubt that Beatrice would apply for Oxford, regardless of whether or not matriculation was possible. Thankfully, to her mother's satisfaction, both those expectations have become a reality. Most women, and men, are intimidated by Edith Sparks, and as Beatrice knows to her cost, she is a hard woman to please. Fortunately, after more than 20 years of marriage, her husband is still besotted. Today is unusual, because Beatrice is not the sort of person that history happens to. She has certainly witnessed it in the making, her mother has seen to that, but usually from the sidelines. Beatrice may be fluent in ancient Greek, propagate orchids in her own greenhouse, attend debates in the House of Commons, and type begging letters on behalf of Serbian orphans, but she has never lived alongside other young women. An only child, she has the singular qualification of having absolutely no friends her own age. What she has discovered of friendship comes from observing her mother's relationships. It occurs to her that these are rather like cocoa. Some are too strong, some too weak, and some spoil if left too long. Some even burn the tongue. Glancing through her ground-floor window, she watches a lone wood pigeon pace the lawn, as if it has lost something, its purply-grey plumage distinct against the wet grass. As she swallows the cold egg on toast the Scout has left, in an approximation of breakfast, she hears muffled movement in neighbouring rooms. She supposes the other occupants of Corridor 8 must also be forcing balls of toast down dry throats, buttoning too tight white blouses, adjusting black ties, and shaking the creases out of academic gowns. Like Beatrice, they will walk to the Divinity School in the heart of the city, where at 10 o'clock they will be among the first women to matriculate at Oxford University. "Good morning. My name is Beatrice Sparks," she says to her reflection. She takes a deep breath and reaches for her cap. In the adjacent room, Marianne Gray is considering how to tell the principal of St. Hugh's that she intends to abandon her degree course after just one day. Despite the fact that the college was built for purpose only 4 years ago, Marianne's corner room, with its 2 exterior walls, is undeniably draughty. As if resenting her presence, the mattress exhaled cool air last night as she tossed and turned, and an itchy patch of red scale threatens on her left index finger. Unfortunately, her exhibition of £20 a year, while very welcome, will not stretch to extra buckets of coal, so she must make do with the twice-daily fires laid by the Scout, if she decides to stay, that is. Her choice is this: remain at St. Hugh's to fulfil her life's ambition and continue to build lies upon lies, or give up the whole wretched scheme entirely and go home to the rectory, exercising her brain for the next 3 years teaching Sunday school and composing the parish newsletter. She wonders what her father is doing right now. Preparing his sermon, perhaps, or eating a breakfast of crumpets loyally smothered with the appallingly tart gooseberry jam she made over the summer. Mrs. Ward, who has Thursdays off, will be taking her granddaughter to visit friends in Abingdon. Marianne glances at the solitary postcard propped on the mantelpiece, featuring Rossetti's Proserpine curved shyly around a bitten pomegranate. Like the goddess of the underworld, Marianne has given in to temptation, the lure of 3 years of study in her case, and must pay the price of being separated from home for half the year, although that is where the similarity between them ends. Marianne is well aware she is no goddess or romantic heroine. She may have been christened after Jane Austen's Marianne, but she has none of her namesake's passion and energy. Sadly, she has far more in common with Tennyson's Mariana, a miserable woman shut in a tower, wishing and waiting until it drives her quite mad. Neither character, she is sure, was bothered by the price of coal, or by chilblains. Glancing in the mirror, she sees an unremarkable woman with hooded eyes, flat chest, and hair the pallor of weak tea. A woman dressed in a second-hand academic gown and shoes that don't quite fit, trying out a life that isn't quite hers. In the room opposite Marianne's, Theodora Greenwood, known to her family and friends affectionately as Dora, is congratulating herself on meeting the simple dress code of sub-fusk, although careful inspection of her attire will reveal an artfully tied black ribbon at her neck and a silver brooch with diamond chip at her lapel. Her waist-length hair is tightly pinned, all strands accounted for. How easy life would be, she muses, if she were as neat and tidy on the inside. If her brother could see her now, he would laugh at her square cap, call her an old maid, and pull it down over her eyes. Poor George, who ought to have graduated from Jesus and be running the printworks with father by now. But then, had George survived Cambrai, and all the varied opportunities for death that followed, she would not be sitting here at all. Their father would never have permitted it. A different version of Dora, provincial Dora, would most likely be spending her days pouring tea, playing whist, or being paraded at church. Do not mention novels, Dora. But George did not survive Cambrai, and Dora is the keeper of their childhood now, the curator of their childhood games, the silly notes, the selfish arguments. Even after 3 years, it is hard to accept that George and his restless bravado no longer exist. That, like thousands of others, he ran daily into a barrage of hot lead, blade and shell, until his flesh was blasted from his bones. How is it that her handsome, spoilt brother, who smelt of grass and sweat and cigarettes, who swore blind her ball was out when it was plainly in, who only wrote her a single letter in his life, can no longer exist? Unfortunately, she has letters enough to weep over.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?